middle of the night in Brazil, so we don't want to delay them. We can see that we are not an agricultural land in Singapore because the crowd dramatically has dropped.
I think that probably just take a quick break and come back.
Perfect. Perfect. Now we have here Pedro with us. So now we're going to dive into what we call the potential of decarbonization of agriculture and livestock. And with me, I have a great team of panelists. So Luis Caruso actually just arrived to Singapore. He is the agricultural attaché of the Embassy of Brazil in Singapore. He is part of the Ministry of Agriculture of Brazil. And over his career, he has been actively attracting foreign investment into Brazil and fostering international collaboration. And I have with me also CSU, who is the Managing Director of Pacific Agri-Science. And this is your company that you have created 24 years ago. And you have many years of experience in several MNCs in the agribusiness and fertilizers, among them the large company Syngenta. And with me we have here from Brazil, Pedro Madea. Pedro Madea is the founder and the CEO of Organised. So he's an agribusiness entrepreneur with 40 years experience in the sector. He was the co-founder and CEO of Tropical Bioenergia, and he was also the COO of Biofuels. So initially a farmer by heart, now moved into an investment. So thank you very much for joining this session. And I would like to start with you, CSU, because you are very, I follow you on your LinkedIn, and you are always giving talks in America, in Europe, everywhere, actually about decarbonization of agriculture and livestock. So what are the current trends out there in terms of where are we moving into this area?
Okay, thanks a lot, Angela, for the question. Before I talk about what is the trend towards decarbonization of agriculture and livestock industries, I just want to put a couple of things in perspective first, right? Decarbonization, we're not talking about just removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, sequestering carbon dioxide. It's just a term for all greenhouse gases that need to be mitigated, right? So that's very important to put that in perspective. Carbon dioxide is the most vilified, I would say, of the greenhouse gases, right? There's a silver lining to all the carbon dioxide that is released into the atmosphere. Over the last 2 centuries, I think 50% more carbon dioxide has been released into the atmosphere. Is that all bad? I don't think so. I'm an agronomist, agriculturist. Agronomy is the study of crops and soils. I would say without carbon dioxide, we'll be all dead. We won't have food to eat, right? So it's not all bad. In fact, the globe is greening more than ever before because of carbon dioxide, right? And also at the farming level, in greenhouses, farmers actually pump in carbon dioxide to increase yield. On a global scale, yield of certain crops have also increased because of carbon dioxide, right? So I just want to put that in perspective. And then yesterday, in the biofuel panel, unfortunately, we didn't get to ask questions. I had a burning question on, biofuel is not really your holy grail to climate change mitigation. You gotta look at the carbon footprint, right, aside from cost. Do you know that in the US, biofuel, bioethanol derived from corn is highly subsidized? $100 billion have already been pumped in to subsidize that. So if it is so wonderful, biofuel, if it is so wonderful, EV cars, why is there a need to have such heavy subsidies, right? So think about it. right? Think about not just the cost, but the carbon footprint. To grow a crop, there's already a carbon footprint, right? You use fertilizers, you use pesticides, and a lot of this is derived from fossil fuels in the first place, right? And then you have to process that into biofuel. So what is the cost of that? What is then the carbon footprint on the liter of fossil fuel that is used? So that has to be put in perspective, right? So then now talking, I finished ranting on biofuel and the viability. Let me now talk about the trend towards decarbonization of agriculture and livestock. Okay, so fortunately, there are technologies that are already out there, right? Earlier panelist was talking about rice being a major contributor to greenhouse gases, particularly methane, right? Methane is actually 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide in terms of trapping heat and causing climate change. So that's why I say carbon dioxide is so vilified, right? And we really need to put it into perspective. So there are already technologies there, ways and means in terms of cultural practices to not flood the rice, because flooding the rice field is the cause of methane emission. Up to about 12% methane is emitted because of the flooding of rice. You favor the methane generating bacteria, right? So this can be changed to upland rice. In India, it's already proven that you can grow upland rice, right? And using drip irrigation and mulching, right? The funny thing is that I was trying to find out why, as an agronomist, I'm still learning, why is rice being planted in flooded fields? And I often see that the reason is to suppress weeds. How ridiculous. Farmers of rice are all using herbicides. So if water can suppress or reduce weed population, why is there still so much of herbicides being used on rice? So obviously it doesn't work the way it's intended. So this just a change of cultural practice from flooded rice to upland rice using drip irrigation and mulching. By the way, in India, government is subsidizing that because there's an upfront cost, right, in doing that. So that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that with a change in cultural practice, you can actually decarbonize a lot of what is happening out there. And then you have the livestock section, where methane is a major contributor. I love meat, I'm a carnivore, so please continue to produce meat, right? But it happens that it contributes a lot of methane into the atmosphere, right? So there are already technologies there, products out there, cultural practice out there by forage practices. Farmers can actually reduce methane emissions from their animals. And then there are also supplements that can go into the feed that are methane inhibitors. So technologies are all there. And then you also have the bio section, or the bio solutions segment of crop protection and nutrition. So what we have there is biopesticides, biostimulants, biofertilizers. So these are, again, more sustainable than chemical equivalents, right? So what are biostimulants? Biostimulants can help farmers to utilize nutrients in the soil more efficiently. A lot of farmers continue to dump a lot of chemical pesticides year after year, and half of that is leached into the ocean eventually, right? Because in the soil, a lot of these nutrients cannot be properly utilized, they're tied up in the soil. So there are biostimulants now, don't forget biostimulants, that could be from microorganisms or plant extracts that can help to solubilize some of these nutrients, allowing less chemical fertilizers to be used. And some of you might have heard of the farm to fork strategy of the European Union, which calls for 20% reduction in chemical fertilizer usage by 2030 and 50% reduction in chemical pesticide use by 2030. So there are all these technologies out there, all these government measures out there to help decarbonize. But like I said, will it be achieved or not? That's another question, right? So because stakeholders are not aligned, so I can talk more about that later.